Hey, everybody, welcome back. Welcome to the first video in our onboarding course. Now, you are about to pursue lead generation. All right, so I'm going to give you some big tips on market selection. That's the first stop. I want leads. Where do you want them? Okay, that's the first stop. So, the best performance that your campaign can possibly do is going to be in more suburban areas. So I break real estate down, whether it's land or houses, I break it down into saturated and suburban. Okay, those are our two choices. We have saturated, that's the black ring, and we got suburban, and that's the gold ring. Okay, now with saturated, all right, I'm going to give you extreme saturation. If you're in one of these 7 markets and you're new to real estate, I would find a different market. But this is super saturated markets to give you an example. Miami, Orlando, Atlanta, Phoenix, Dallas, Houston, Southern California. So those are just uptime as super saturated markets. Now, what are some other less saturated markets, but still really big? Tampa, Charleston, Raleigh, I think Chicago. Okay. And another good way to consider a saturated market, another good way to consider them, as I call them, celebrity cities. Now, a celebrity city is likely one of the most well-known cities in the state. Okay. So I'll get like every state's got at least one city, I always say, that you don't want to be in. Right. And that's the most well-known city in that state. That's a saturated market. The more notoriety it has, the more celebrity it has, the more saturated it's going to be. Now, if it's saturated, that means that it's going to take more effort on your part and more marketing dollars on your part in order to either generate a lead or close a deal. That's what saturated does. And that's one of the reasons why I recommend staying away from it. In the beginning of either A, your real estate journey, or B, our relationship, you're going to want to start in more suburban markets because we're going to get more leads for less costs. And that means you're going to have more opportunities. But there's some other benefits to suburban markets. Okay. And that is that leads are easier to talk to. Over here in saturated markets in Dallas and Houston, for example, if you're getting 5 to 10 calls a day and you get them on the phone, you're like the 30th investor they've spoken to, maybe even the 50th. They're so tired of investors by the time they get to you in a saturated market. In a more suburban market, they're not talking to investors all the time. They're not tired of you. They're open to conversation. They're easier to talk to. They're easier to get back on the phone. There's all these great reasons. It's not just more leads for less money, but working the lead is easier too. And that's what I want for you. It's probably what you want for you. Now, it's okay to be in a saturated market. We've got strategies for that. I offer foreign calling and text messaging. Those are amazing saturated market strategies. So I'm not demonizing saturated markets, but you should only be in there if either your skill is really high, B, your budget is really high, or C, you're stubborn and you really don't want to leave your market. And that's fine too. There's nothing wrong with that. There really isn't. But that's why I'm kind of setting expectations right now. I'm doing 2 things. 1, I'm educating you. And 2, I'm setting expectations. So if you think you're in a super saturated market, A, give me a call on my cell phone. Okay. We'll talk about it. And then I'll help you pick either a better market or we can talk about where you want to start in that saturated market. Okay. Now, suburban markets, I love these areas. Tons of leads, tons of opportunities. Leads equals opportunities. You need to have more opportunities. Our average client closes 1 in 15 to 20 leads. Okay, but that's only if they actually work the lead, if they actually do their part. All right, now we're going to get into that here in a minute. But I just want to share with you cold calling and text messaging leads, and really all leads, but these specifically, they need what I call elbow grease. Okay. Very rarely is a cold calling lead like hot, ready to go. Yes. Contract signed within 2 days, right? Very rarely is that the case. What I like to do is I like to set up a 3-call close. Okay. And I like those 3 calls to potentially happen over a 5-day time period. Now, even that would pretty much be best case scenario. So if everything goes as planned, we have a 3-call close over a 5-day period. But we have to be ready for everyone else who isn't ready just yet. And then we have to be willing to follow up and be relentless and work that lead. But it all starts with market selection. So we have our saturated, we have our suburban. I will actually help you determine what your market is. If you want, you can call my cell phone, completely free. It's a free market consultation. Okay. You can book a call on the website. All right. Just using the links that you'll see on the website to book a call with me. And I will actually go over your market with you and give you advice on it. And then if you're open to it, help you pick a different one. Now, I do not know cities and states. I actually work with you on philosophy and strategy, and I help you pick your best market. So this is not a time where I'm like handing out cities and states. There's not enough of that. I help you determine what's going to work best for you on those calls. But market selection, super important. All right. So the more suburban you start us in, the more leads you're going to get. The more leads you're going to get, the more opportunities you have at closing. My average client closes 1 in 15 to 20 leads using the strategies I'm about to cover with you on the upcoming videos. So stay tuned. And if you need help picking a market, you could always reach out to me. What a couple of clients do, and I highly recommend this, is they can actually text message me like 5 markets that they're considering. I have some people like, hey, I'm open to these 5. Which ones do you think I should do or shouldn't do? And then I immediately say, hey, stay away from these 3, focus on those 2. So I can help in all kinds of ways. All right, I'm going to wrap up market selection. I think you guys get the point. Let's get on to the next one.